up on the dance floor tonight. I got 2 left feet and a bottle of red wine, making me feel like the beat in the bassline.
Hello everyone, I once again welcome you to the Allied Graphic class. I am by name Mr. Wilfred Felix. I am the manager Allied Library Digital Services and I am going to be your tutor for this class. So as we all know, this is a graphic design class and we stated we are going to be training you on the 3 basic softwares which are the most popular softwares used by graphic designers. So the first software is the Corel Draw software. The second software is the Adobe Photoshop, and the third software is the Adobe Illustrator. So these 3 softwares have their differences and similarities. So we are going to be training you on how to become proficient and profitable through the comfort of your home, making cool cash with the knowledge of the technologies of these 3 softwares. So we might be baffled on what is graphic design all about, or what could graphic design be used for. So I could give a little definition on what graphic design is all about. So graphic design is the process of visual communication and problem solving through the use of typography, which means text, photography, that means pictures, and illustrations. So these illustrations could be forms, that is shapes, like we have squares, rectangles, triangles, circles. Then the illustration could also be textures, patterns, forms, colors. So we could all apply these to achieve what we all know as graphic design. So graphic design could be used for passing information. So the advert you saw, learn graphic design, we are going to be training you on Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Corel Draw, and Adobe Illustrator for 7,500 naira. The date is 20th January 2020. Click the link below to join the class. So that was a graphic design. So it was passing an information from the Allied Library Digital Services to the public to create an awareness of the ongoing project of graphic design tutorial. So when you saw that advert, you received the communication, or you received the information we are trying to pass out. So in one way or another, that graphic design would have given you an emotional spark. You would have been incited by the graphic design and you have said, oh wow, this looks creative. Okay, you are scrolling through either your Facebook or your Instagram and then something caught your eye. So it was maybe the form, the color. So graphic design could also be used in passing emotions. So a person could be attracted to red colors. So once you see a red color, it gives you a signal. It could be a signal for danger. It could be a signal for love. So graphic design could also be used in passing information and emotions. So we have some graphic design which do not possess text, but they could also be used in passing information. So for today, we are going to be introducing you to the Corel Draw workspace. So I believe we all have our Corel Draw software installed and running on our various personal computers. So you can locate your Corel Draw shortcut on your desktop, then you double click it and you wait for the work environment to load, or if you can't find it on your desktop, you could go to your start menu, then locate it through your start menu. You can see the Corel Draw folder, then you locate the Corel Draw X8 and then you double click on that. So once it's done loading, it gives you this pop-up of the workspace. So to start a new work, you click on the new document, which takes you to a pop-up. So on this pop-up, we see several options. So we are going to set the name of the project. So this project, I'm going to name this project tutorial 1. So the various other options on this pop-up, we are going to go in depth on them because they are likewise important in graphic design. So we see size, we are also going to go in depth on graphic design sizing and the units involved. We are also going to go in depth the proportions, the resolutions, and all we have to know based on the scaling and sizing of graphic design. So we are going to go in depth as we proceed on this course. So once you are done with the options, you click on OK. So we have our work environment fully loaded and popped up. So we see a canvas. So this section of the work environment is what we call the canvas. So a canvas is a platform an artist makes or creates his work. So this is our digital canvas. So this is where we create our designs. So most times any design we create outside this design might not be exported or might not be visible for printing. So every design we want to use for exports or for printing must be within the canvas. So we are going to create a boundary, a perfect boundary on this canvas. So the simple way to do that, to create a perfect boundary or to create the first layer on the canvas, is to double click on the rectangle tool. So I'm going to repeat that. So this is our canvas on the CorelDRAW workspace. So we are going to define the work area, that is where all our work are going to be. So any work we do outside this canvas might not be visible for printing or for exports. Assuming we create a design and we want to export that design for use on our social media. So if the design is outside this canvas, we might not be able to export that design. So we are going to create a boundary by double clicking, that is by left clicking our mouse twice on the rectangle tool. So it gives us a rectangle perfectly fitted to the canvas. So we are then going to see the menu bar and then the toolbars on the CorelDRAW workspace. So on the menu bar, we have the file, we have the options, so many options there, which we are also going to go in depth on those options. We have the edit, the view, the layout, the objects, the effects, the bitmap, text. We could modify our text on this option, the table, tools, window, help. So this is the title bar of the CorelDRAW workspace. So beneath that, we have the menu bar of the CorelDRAW workspace. We have the save, we have the open, we have the undo, we have the redo, we have the search contents, we have the imports, we have the exports, we have the publish to PDF. We could also publish our design as a PDF document. So when we get to creating magazines, we can also see how we can publish our magazines as a PDF document and then send it to our clients. So this is the zoom level of the workspace. So this is the menu bar of the CorelDRAW workspace. So beneath the menu bar, we have the property bar. So on the property bar, we have the option which we are currently on. So the property bar changes varying on the option we are working on. So let us go to the toolbar. So the toolbar is on the left hand side of the CorelDRAW workspace. So we have the first tool, the pick tool, which we can use to select an object. So I can use the pick tool to select an object, then left click on it to be able to move it about and then release or drag it. I could also use it to, I could as well also rotate the object by clicking for the first time and then clicking the second time. Then I can see some double pointed arrows. I can see a double edge pointed arrow which is curved, and then I see a straight double edge pointed arrow. So if I select the double edge curved arrow, I can be able to rotate the object from any of the double edged curved arrows. I can click on them and then rotate the object. Then on the double edged straight arrows, which gives a parallel indication, I could use that to change the perspective of the image. I could change the perspective of the object which I have selected. So as we have seen, the perspective of this square has changed. So I can change the perspective of the object by clicking twice on the selected object. Then I can be able to rotate the object. Then the second tool we have is the shape tool. We can click on the shape tool, or we could use the shape tool to modify the object. So when I create a rectangle or a square and I select the shape tool, I could use the shape tool to modify the edges of the square or the rectangle. So when I select the shape tool, I see 4 indications on the edges of the rectangle, and if I happen to left click and drag inwards on that edge, I can be able to modify the edge. I could change it from a pointed edge to a rounded edge, and then on the property bar, which changes depending on the tool we are on. So as I am on the shape tool, the property bar has changed, and if I return to the pick tool, we also notice that the property bar also changes. So the property bar changes depending on the tool we are working on. So we also have the third tool, the crop tool. We could also use it to crop any part of the object we are on. We can make a drawing, then hit the enter button, then to cut off the part of an object we do not want to use. So we have the zoom tool. When you left click on the zoom tool, you zoom in, then you right click, you zoom out. We have the next tool, the freehand tool, and use it in making freehand drawings. We have the artistic media tool, we could also use in making artistic drawings. We have the rectangle tool, we use it in drawing rectangles, squares. So when we want to make a perfect square, we hold down the control button as we click and drag. So when you want to make a perfect square with the rectangle tool, you hold down the control button and you left click and drag. So I'll repeat that. So this is a rectangle. So all sides are not equal, but if I want to get an equal square, I will hold down the control key while still holding down the left click, and then I get a perfect square. So that is how we do that. So likewise, if I want to get a perfect circle, I click on the ellipse tool, then I hold down the control key, then I left click and drag. So it gives me a perfect circle. If I happen to release the control key, I get an ellipse shape, which is not a perfect circle. But if I hold down the control key while dragging, I get a perfect circle shape. So that is how we get a perfect proportion of a shape we do desire. So beneath that, we have the polygon tool and so many other tools beneath that, which we'll go into detail as we advance in the class. We have the text tool beneath the polygon tool. So on the text tool, you can click the text, then it gives an indication of a target with an A below it. So on any part of the document here, once we click on that, we can begin to type. So it shows the type indicator. So I can type tutorial. Then I could go back to the pick tool and then drag from any of the edges to resize that shape. So likewise, if I want to give that shape or I want to retain the proportion of the shape, I hold down Ctrl while dragging, and then I drag from the angles. I do not drag from the top or the side. If I drag from the top, I distort that image, or if I happen to drag from the side, I distort that image. But if I drag from the angles, the image retains its proportion, so I do not distort that image. So as the height of the image increases, the weight of the image increases proportionally. So we do not drag from the top or the side, we drag from the angles. So we'll go into full details as we progress in the class. So I believe this is a good introduction, so I do not want to bog us with so much information on the introduction class. So I am going to also release some videos before the week is over. So I am also going to be dropping the course outline and then also the rules of the class. There are not much rules for the class, so there are just a few simple rules for the class. So the first rule is that there are no advert placement on the group. So advert placement or posting of adverts or comedy or anything that is outside the tutorial is prohibited. So we are not allowed to post any information that is outside the graphic class. So we can ask questions, we can comment, so long it's related to the graphic class. So the second rule is we do not condone violence or abuse or shaming of any kind. So we do not condone that on the group. So these are just the two rules. So no posting of adverts or any information that is not related to the graphic design class. Then the second one is no violence, no abuse on the class. So the rules are just simple. I believe we are all going to enjoy the class, so I can't wait for us to advance in the graphic design course and then we begin to enjoy graphic design. So I once again welcome you all to this Elite Library graphic class year 2020. So sit tight. If you have any question or you have any information regarding the class, feel free to post the information or your question, or you could also chat me up privately. I'm always there to answer you. So I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.